could sit here and read live commercials and just make tons of money for the company. I could tell you the same thing over and over again.
I can't be tagged as the guy who's a dick.
They must be so jealous of me. I'm so successful, and they're just kind of not. You know what I mean? I feel the jealousy. That's why I don't leave my house. Don't you also sort of harbor some resentment, even though it's not logical, but you resent your baby for being in the way of your career?
Because we don't want the Japs anymore, man.
Because I want respect.
Some people say our show was the first reality show. I don't think there's one thing I've ever said on the radio that would have been found indecent or obscene. The secret to my show is honesty, reality, that I will say the truth.
A Lotus Notes exclusive. This week on Lotus Notes, in order to make a clever thumbnail of Chaunce Hayden, Sarah is going to have to become a rapist.
Depp! Greco!
I had no idea what you were doing with that. But of course, you killed it again. Sarah is going to have to become a rapist. She loves being on the end of that. Nobody loves rape more than Sarah does.
And being associated with it, right?
Does anybody know that joke? So it's a 21 Jump Street joke where Hanson has to, by the way, our last Patreon, 21 Arm Street, 6 hours and
you
20
guys.
odd minutes, a new record, for anything we've done. A new record, not a streaming. This isn't a court streaming. This is a show, a full-blown show. David, I cannot thank you enough for sitting in.
It was so much fun.
Both
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, the Weintraub segment was crazy. It's crazy.
You must have
So
been your voices must have been like this by the end.
It was.
God.
Hey, I want to say, before I forget, hey, congratulations to our buddy Fine Chug who got married last week in Philadelphia. Congratulations, Fine. And that's how you do it. It was a very casual looking wedding, great looking couple, great guy. They make marriage look good, and he's a great dad, and I'm glad he's here because I would have forgotten. Congratulations, Fine Chug, from your Deppening Lotus Notes fan.
Well done, though. Marriage these days. I mean, you have to respect someone who gets involved in that these days. Brilliant.
Oh, my Elsie Greenwood over here. Congratulations, Fine Chug. But what I was talking about, so that bit that Bond just did, it was this thing where Hanson, who's an undercover cop, Johnny Depp's character Hanson and the 21 Jump Street, they're undercover cops who most usually go into high schools, and they started to get ridiculous where they would have to commit some petty crime like floppy disk sales or something like that, or theft, and the joke is Hanson would have to become a rapist in order to catch the floppy disk thief. And so every episode, it was a bit that Will Arnett did, and so we just turned it into a 21 Jump Street thing where every time Hanson has just some petty high school crime, he has to become a rapist in order to get to the bottom of a much lesser crime than rape.
Mm-hmm.
Remember,
the undercover cop goes
kept
so
getting
deep.
higher and higher. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember when we did the suicide episode with Brad Pitt, and like one of the high schools they were at was like filthy, and we thought
David,
it was funny
it's suicide. David,
I'm sorry.
It's suicide and it's rape.
We can't say that word. Yeah, rape.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
but
the unaliving episode, right?
Oh, thank you. The unaliving.
Yes, the unaliving.
Yes. That's what the kids were saying, though. It wasn't what I was saying.
Leave it to David.
But unalived. He was
But,
watching. He was there.
Yes,
Go ahead,
exactly.
David.
No, I'm sorry. Just there was a scene in the Unaliving episode where like we joked about how it's really just like a "Don't be a litter bug" episode because the high school that it took place at was like filthy. So I always think of that like the
Yeah.
red herring of Unaliving.
That was the
Yeah.
racial episode. Yeah. That was the rainbow episode with with the race riot at the high school, where it was just in litter. Oh, it was actually the Brad Pitt episode. Is
Brad
what the
Pitt,
litter
yeah.
was. I was sitting out on the bench, and it was nothing but like milk cartons on the ground, and Charleston Chew wrappers. Yeah. Both of them. So that's that bit. And Bond, like on a Voxer text, says, "Do that thing with Sarah." But makes Sarah in there, and Sarah has to go undercover, and so that was the bit, and it's always worth it. And we had a great time. Not good, great. Bon, I think I want to get right in this because we have a guest, and our guest. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, let me play your theme songs. So we have, of course, Bon Jovial.
Oh yeah.
After believe we are magic.
Australia is a wonderful island with a treasure trove of unique plants, animals, and people.
That's a life. It has to be protected.
Australia is free of many pests and diseases that are commonplace around the world.
That's a sign of aggression. You can see how she's got her mouth slightly ajar. She's got her teeth showing.
Declare everything and run to Australia.
Let's let you know you're one of my kind.
Never. Good job. This is the work of Sarah's filmmaking skills, by the way. And we brought them back, and I have them.
I always
in my,
appreciate
holster here to
that.
play. Yeah. And this is our second. We have.
Put your lips together and blow.
Wow.
The crazy thing about that is Depp
Wow.
and Amber Heard's pet names for each other were Slim and Steve.
Right.
And that's from that. Bogey, because I swear to God. And it was just a coincidence that she put that together. That's when Amber Heard pretended she was into all that. I mean, David is
Old
really,
movies.
literally 200 years old.
Right.
And Amber Heard tends to be 200 years old. And speaking of that, Crazy Robin, speaking of Irish exits, which David's going to make later and Chaunce's coming on later, it's nothing on Crazy Robin's exit if you can listen to our list. But thank you, Crazy Robin, for sitting in. We love you. I don't know where, if you're in this chat, we'd love to see you surface. We'd love to hear some of the sipping on that gin and juice or orange Gatorade, whichever comes first, because I get it. My people get it. So thank you, Crazy Robin, and we hope to have a nice rotation back in. Sunflower Dragon, whoever. I know Autobot wants to get on. Autobot, roll out. People call him Peter Cullen when he comes
There's
in.
no way.
No, there's no way, Grace. There's no way.
No, that's not Grace. That's not Grace.
Oh, no, Sunflower. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Potentially, your boss could come in fully nude any given day, and you can't sue them as long as it's once.
Thank you. She's owns as long as it's only once. Wow.
Dispensing legalese. I love it.
If
oh my God. So
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
If Autobot wants to do some Pacific Northwest Dep Tour related material in Vancouver and stack that onto my annual LA Dep Tour, I would welcome the footage. So
that would be
it's up to him.
amazing. That would be amazing. Welcome, John Shits his pants. So I had a Chubby Pickle. Welcome, Chubby Pickle. Thank you for all you do. Welcome, John Shits. If you if you over phonetically, welcome,
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
John Shits his pants.
It's like Schitt's Creek.
Chubby Pickle, welcome, sir. Can't wait to have you back. Thank you for all you do and your contributions. Speaking of which, Sarah says we're $250 short of our goal. I don't know how she worded it before, but it was some other Sarah Clatcher. And just if you can, in the kindness, I know, keep the pirate ship afloat. That would be kind of you. I'm not the greatest grifter. I'm not the greatest salesman. That's about as much as I go without wanting to jump out of my skin. But thank you, everyone, in advance. Oh my God, Sarah. Johnny Depp's stepdad is in fact named Robert Palmer. Bond, do you have anything I sent you from Power Station or Robert Palmer?
No, none of them worked. The only one worked is what I put in the intro. I know. That's what I was going to get back
okay.
to you.
Maybe for next time. Next time.
The only one worked is what I plonked in. So get back to me. Email me them. In fact, email me
Maybe
them.
I'll make a video or
hours.
something out of it, and I'll send it to you in MP4. Maybe that's easier to do. Johnny Depp's dad is named Robert Palmer, and he spent half his life in a Illinois penitentiary. His mom, his Depp dad, and he is married to his mom, who just passed away, Betty Sue. That's her new husband, and he is an ex-con, the Illinois prison. I'm writing to myself, and it is not the Power Station singer. I'm sure that penitentiary wasn't exactly a power station. Har har har. Arm is tarded. And a power bottom, maybe. Good one, Sarah. I may pretend Sarah said this. You love sex jokes like your hero, John Martling. John and Jackie, or Jack and John are this. Did you know it's the same name? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like Dick and Richard and that whole thing. It's one of the dumbest things, I guess, in our names or English language. And I realized that Jack and John, I had a psychologist, and when I was about 17, he called my house and I answered the phone. He goes, "Hey, John, John McGarry here. Would it be okay 3:00 on Friday?" I'm like, "John McGarry, what?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, I'm your therapist. What's going on, John? I'm like, "Is it your name Jack?" "It's Jack." He goes, "John," and he goes, "No, okay, you stupid kid. John and Jack are the same name. You didn't know that?" And so that's when I first realized it's so stupid. Why? It's so stupid. That's why Jack Depp is named Jack.
But you were only, 16 or something?
Yeah,
So
16 or 17.
Man. You don't feel bad, dude. Let it
He didn't
go.
call me stupid. He's a really nice guy.
All right.
He's a really nice guy. He reminds me of Rick Wilson from the Lincoln Project. That's what his personality was like. Welcome, Don Quiznicki.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if DK had. D-Quack hasn't been on yet. Have you seen D-Quack in the D-Quaz in the chat? You guys remember?
No.
Fine, Chuck. So. Welcome, Donald. Welcome to the Deppening family.
Oh, David, he's giving us money now.
David. Who is? David?
David. It trips me out when he does that.
That's my sugar daddy, everyone.
Right. Gotta get the show afloat.
Self-payment. Thank you, Sunflower Dragon. There she is, gentleman 143.
Sunflower.
Maybe we can have her on for she is a beautiful woman in every way. In a
so it's what we decide as a society.
A Sal Governale related show.
Gosh,
yeah,
right.
Laughing at a guy who's got no clothes on will affect him.
She's right on that.
I say Sal too, and this hit me a few days ago. Did you guys know Sal got because this kind of lines up with her. Sal got a stalk. Sal got almost
You're
arrested
not going
for stalking.
into Marissa Tomei,
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
Someone handed me a
Did you know
note
that?
saying that you know how you're in love with me and stuff, and like you can even memorize what shirts I wear, and like you worship me. And I'm not the first person that you ever worship.
that you had like almost a stalking charge against you?
Oh, with Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei, that the manager had to make sure that you were never around Marissa Tomei, and they took out like a restraining order against you?
In the stock market, sometimes we would get lists of big celebrity names. So Marissa, I was a big fan of Marissa Tomei from my cousin Vinny. I used to love the way she looked. I used to masturbate to her
can you
all
pause
the
it for
time.
1 second?
So she cut her hair at a point, and remember when she cut it real short? She dyed it. So she cut her hair at a point, and remember.
Sorry. Yeah.
Every guinea, especially in the tri-state area,
loved her.
thinks they have a shot at Marissa Tomei. I swear to God, she's oddly not married, and you never see her connected to like a boyfriend or. One would think she might be a lesbian. I've seen her, but she's never ever involved in a relationship. And the George Costanza Seinfeld episode and everything,
right.
She's just almost annoyingly single, no kids. I don't even know if she has a boyfriend. But so every guinea thinks they have a shot at her. And go ahead. I'm sorry. You play the rest of it.
It's all right. Here we go.
Hair at a point, and remember when she cut it real short, she dyed it blonde, and she looked really ratty.
Okay.
So I decided to call her up and leave her a message. I go, I think you look a little ratty. You don't look Italian anymore. You don't have the right look. What are you doing to yourself? I used to pleasure myself to you, and, you know, you're going downhill. Get back to that original hot Italian look. And her and her lawyers called. They traced the call. And they said, we don't know who that guy is, but whoever he is, if he ever calls again, we're going to put a restraining order out on him and have him arrested for harassment.
Wow.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It's only funny if it doesn't happen to It's only funny if it doesn't if it happens that it doesn't happen to Howard.
Right.
You
right.
can laugh at that, right?
Also,
here's the funny thing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think I've said this before, but a somewhat passable substitute for Jackie's sub-vocalized laughter in the background is Benji's. Like, I actually enjoy when Benji kind of laughs genuinely at something in the background like he did there, because I think he's a little more hip to, you know, the ironic things that go down on the show than Howard and Robin are. So it's fun to hear him laugh occasionally. That's the only thing I'll give him.
Right. I would rather drop kick him to oblivion than if I could bring Jackie back for 2 weeks.
Of course. Yeah.
So Marissa Tomei is at a weird level too. Like as a leading lady, she's almost like an A- list, where she's rich enough and in demand enough that she could have a team of people go after Sal like that. You know what I mean? If she was a lesser level, she wouldn't be able to do that. Sal's, so in addition to that, we have the boiler room stuff, and it's all connected because he can't stalk her if he doesn't have those boiler room leads, right? And that's all they did back then. This is like before the internet wasn't rocking and rolling yet. It was kind of weird, Wild West. Not everybody had it. I think those boiler room places did have it, and so they had an advantage over stalking people like that. He did some really bitch ass things as a stockbroker. He's just stealing money from like just a sweet, you know, retired school teacher in Iowa and stuff, just grifting her on the phone at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, just horrible things. I'm sure. I bet you he ruined many lives like that.
I'm sure he
for
did.
all we know.
But you're right. Like if he did what he did to Marissa Tomei to like Marcia Gay Harden or something, we would never hear of it. She doesn't have the star power.
Right.
To,
That's a great example. You people love Marcia Gay Harden.
Yeah.
You've already upstaged Fred, where 19 minutes in, you've beaten Fred in sound effects for the entire decade.
Right.
Well, I just put that Marissa Tomei thing in like last week. So when you started talking about it, I couldn't believe you were talking about it, and I was like, I've got it right in front of me.
You have that
because I'd never heard that until last week. He's such a vicious little sick man, don't you think, David? As an absolute gentleman that you are, David, you must think that he is appalling.
There's a thing in Sal's voice where he's backwardly proud of this behavior. If you can really listen acutely, right? You can hear that he's pleasing Howard, and he loves that he's almost embellishing the psychosis of it. Even though I do believe he's crazy, but he knows what Howard likes. and you could feel he's proud of it. You could feel it.
There's two people on the show that kind of scare me a little bit. Sal is one of them, and Ralph is the other. Like they don't know where the line is a lot of the time. So whether it's like Ralph making fun of Doug Goodstein's kid for having complications after they were born, or like, I don't know, sometimes that kind of behavior just like frightens me a little bit. Like, they're out of control.
Well, look at what the show attracts, right? Look at the staff. They are the worst Morlock sociopathic pieces of shit. Anyone who's left on that show, right, has got to be, what did they say? The blah 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 rots from the head down, right? That's Howard spreading that, blight onto his staff. That's what reflects on him. And they're all pieces of shit. If you're still on that show, you are a piece of shit.
It's a
right?
portable, refuelable, flammable cross. It was once used by the Klan, and you can place it on lawns.
Yeah, that's a guy, a Bayshore, Long Island Southern accent. That's good stuff. So.
Yeah, right.
Is this? Oh god.
I was gonna say, like, JD, for example, like, he comes off as just like a dummy on air, but like the things he must be saying to women in like chat rooms and stuff would also frighten me. Like, just how
they have texts from him.
He
where
tried to hit
he's
up
harassing
Monique.
Yeah.
that's
He's the
right.
worst. If you contact these people and you're abroad and they look at your profile picture and you're I don't know, what would you guys say, 5 and above, they are DMing you within 30 seconds.
He's saying Monique's a 5.
Yeah, Monique is a 5.2. She's a green point 5.
There it is. I was about to say, you guys always say the town or the city, and then a Pennsylvanian 4 or something, whatever. I love it how you do that. I don't know what it means, but I love it.
Welcome Abe Rizzo and Babe Lewis and Jose Villataro and Kevin Chester and Dr. Sarah and Melvin. Obsessed with my food intake. I got to get in those pictures again. Every time I forget. Thank you again, Sunflower Dragon. Love to come on as someone who worked in New York City radio, says Kevin Chester, 25 years ago. Had an opportunity to become an intern, but chose to go to. I would love to have you on, Kevin. I'd love to hear your in. We ask a lot of like inside baseball questions that you go, why do they care about how Howard gets in and out of the studio? What's his toilet paper like? That's the show. That's what show. We would love to have you on, Kevin.
Can I hey Bon, I was texting with John about how I think it's so funny at this point in the Deppening's existence, like if Johnny Depper's team stumbled upon the page and they're like, why are they covering Fran Drescher interviews in my name? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because it's the Deppening, right? And the whole gist is supposed to be Johnny Depp themed podcast, and there's 1,000 of them we could do. But I got on this.
That was just
I wanted to launch.
It's not acceptable.
I wanted to launch Lotus Notes before I get back. It's been a pretty dull point in Depp's life right now. There's a lot. He's starting to. He's doing this thing where he sort of globe hops and he's sort of like gallivanting around Europe, just walking in and out of Lincoln Navigators, signing autographs. And nebulously going from Spain to France, back to Brazil. You don't know why. There's no tour. It's so bizarre. It's almost like he's
I'm not on a case. I'm looking for a kid who blows up toilet bowls.
Season 2, season finale. I love it.
It's so funny because that's what his son is doing right now. His son is a jet setter party boy. And so,
Jack Depp, party boy, absolutely. I would love to throw a spider tracer or a bat tray on him and follow him around for a week. He is so I found speaking footage of him from last week. It's so difficult. There's more Jeffrey Epstein audio than Jack Depp. Maybe 5 times as much.
Is he smoking hot as well?
He looks like a John Mayer with Down syndrome.
Oh, well, that's still smoking hot. Is he doing the Depp voice though? The Depp, the Euro Depp.
It's so hard to tell. Like it's faint and in the background.
He must be doing it. He must be. Because God, I'm gonna have to find. I'll try. I'll desperately. try and find clips of him. He's going to be a movie star, isn't he, or something? So we're going to hear
He's
his
a Nepo
voice.
B. He's a Depo B. I mean,
Yeah,
Lily
yeah,
Rose.
yeah.
You talk about born on third base. You don't. I mean, forget it.
Yeah, I mean, with Jack Depp, it's like whatever. If he's not as good looking as his dad was at his age, like he's also rich, so that just increases how quote hot he is, to other people.
And he's also mysterious too. So it keeps his anonymity while still keeping the Depp name. While Lily Rose just vaults. She lives in your neck of the woods, in West Hollywood. I'm almost positive that's one of her residents, and. Yeah, she's that Idol show, and she's in Nosferatu with fucking Willem Dafoe. She couldn't thirst for fame more. She and thinks it's on her own steam. It's just so my idea with Jump Street, right? The Jump Street reboot is Depp, Hansen is the captain with Holly Robinson. They have like one's a captain, one's a lieutenant, and Jack and Lily Rose play the undercover cops.
Oh, right. Switch it up. I liked it. I mean, it could happen. I know you're in this imaginary world. It's not it's possible that show could happen. I know you were asking about it weeks ago and trying to get somebody on board with you. So reality could. It's like Inception, I guess, where everything goes upside down. Maybe it'll happen. I hope so for you.
Yes, to give Sarah credit where credit's due, she had the same scenario, but in a very classy way. She worked for T-Mobile, and she had John Mayer, speaking of which, Richard Marx, and Trent Reznor, and someone else that she had like long conversations with when the cell phone. You remember the Sidekick, the T-Mobile Sidekick? Those years? That's when that was. So she was like working for T-Mobile, like setting people up on a phone plan. And she had the celebrities called in for themselves instead of having like an assistant do it.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my God.
And yes, Sarah said John Mayer is really nice. Like a super nice guy.
Also, on the reboot of Jump Street, the Jack and Lily could play the McQuaid twins or something. Like maybe that's their undercover dynamic.
Oh, David, I love it. That's such a funny idea. God damn it, that's so funny. God.
Maze and an emphatic stroke of Byzantine whimsy.
Ladira, welcome. Greetings from Portugal.
Takes a piss and didn't even flush the toilet.
What? That's Chubby Pickle, everyone. That's a great drop on. I don't know.
I want to thank him for his donation there
He's
as well.
He's a good guy.
We appreciate you, buddy.
Thank
we
you,
love
Chubby.
you. We
Salutations,
absolutely love it.
Penis and the ass.
Sorry, I'm getting all excited.
Who was that?
That was Sunny.
Sunflower.
I've got.
Oh, okay.
Potential.
I've done that one already. Yeah, I've got to chill out. It's early,
If only Fred had 1/10 of your ambition, your drop ambition. Salutations.
Talking like what the fuck you want? Like, give me a minute. Goddamn.
Chubby.
So we've already had more black people on the show than the Stern Show has had on in the last 20 years. Between
Stern Show
Chubby
and Friends.
And Friends. Salutations, fellas. Chubby's at home relaxing from a Truth or Consequences New Mexico run. So he's working for Walter White now. Chubby Pickle is running meth.
Everybody there was just so mellow, man.
Chubby, you have been immortalized with 10 sound drops already. Caught the
Hey, how you doing?
That was great.
Everybody could have him on the show without having him on the show. That's crazy.
Welcome, Ladira from Portugal. I did a report on Portugal in 5th grade. I swear to God, they assigned South America. They assigned countries to everybody in the class, and it was almost like a potluck thing. And
I think I did China or something. Seriously, David, any memories, or did they change it up 80 years ago for you?
5th grade too.
This was 1902 when David was in 5th grade.
The
Titanic. They were still building the Titanic then.
Right. I did my school report on Mesopotamia or some other Pangea.
Oh, I'm loving this.
Listen to him with the Mesopotamia is the global equivalent to God, what's the word? What's the word he said? Boondoggle. Boondoggle.
Yeah.
Tamara Francois says, "I just wanted to see my name in
I could
lights.
see
All
a
my
fun
baby
little
daddies."
boondoggle performance by the Dump Street
Boondoggle.
Band.
Thank you, Tam Fran. We can't wait to have you back either. There's Melvin. Melvin says, "I'm on a T-Mobile Sidekick right now." That's such a good joke. That's like it's almost like a rotary phone now, right? If you had a
Right.
T-Mobile Sidekick. I
I
want to
got
say
your
to
sidekick
Chauncey,
right here.
Chauncey, we're gonna get to you right after we do this tool segment. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
This is my friend Brendan. Speaking of Tool, he texted me the other day and he says, "Hey, did you catch this article? The lead singer of Tool and Howard have a feud." And I kind of vaguely, his name's Maynard James Keenan.
He's a
And sounds like
legend.
a black guy. He's not a black guy. That sounds like if I saw that name 100 times, I would say that's a black guy.
Oh, and
Maynard
being the
James Keenan.
and
How is
being
that a
the
white guy?
being the massive Tool fan I am, everyone just calls it MJK. So it's even
Oh,
more
okay.
black guy. It's even
Yeah,
more
right.
ghetto.
The acronym. I'm about to go mow the lawn, says McKine. I'm jealous, McKine, of you mowing the lawn. My brother, O'Hara, he said that when you cut the grass, Italians love, obviously he's a Mick. And so Italians love cutting the lawn. They're obsessed with their lawns. That's a stereotype, and I'm allowed to say
Oh,
it. And
and the hosing. Let's not forget
hosing
the
driveways
hosing.
down, of course. Hosing the
Right.
driveway down, hosing. We've gone over that. But they
Oh,
love
yeah.
cutting the grass. They'll cut the grass 3 times a week because they get off on like an endorphin rush of looking at the finished product. And
Uh-huh.
anyone with a
Yeah.
lawn knows that. So my brother-in-law started calling it guinea lines. So because it's Italians leaving the lines, and they would sit there and like with the mailman socks pulled up in the driveway, staring at the lawn for a half hour with a fucking Schmitz beer open on a Saturday with the Yankee game in the background. And so we call them guinea lines on Long Island.
There's nothing funnier than dads with like the longest white Nike socks and like cut off jean shorts mowing along. It's like,
Oh, God.
Sarah doing an ASMR whispered phone sex. But that's true. With she loves Trent Reznor. That might be Sarah to Trent Reznor is what Bon is to what's the acronym, Bon?
MJK.
MJK.
I
So
love
I find this
Tool.
thing, and I'm telling Bon Jovial about this, and it turns out he's the biggest Tool fan
I know.
on the
It's
face
fun.
of the earth. And I didn't. I figured. I mean, everybody. Tool's weird because I put them like in a tier where you have your Pearl Jams and Soundgarden, that Seattle scene. I would say Tool is that next tier of popularity where like alternative music in the '90s, like it's sort of after that, and it was
Oh,
not a no
yeah,
man's
yeah,
land.
yeah, yeah.
You
They
know what
had
I
their
mean?
big hit in 1993. They had their big hit Sober. And then they got Stinkfist in 1995, and that was like #1. So they were kind of on the level of they were a bit lower than Rage Against the Machine, which funnily enough they're like best friends with Rage Against the Machine too, but they're just but they're so critically acclaimed is the point. Musicians, journalists, they just love them. Critics love Tool. They'll give albums 5 stars. They just can't help themselves. You know, those bands that just get
Yeah. You know what? You know who
really
they remind?
good reviews.
You know who that reminds me of? I felt the same way about Radiohead. They're almost like too
Oh, you're
beloved
perfectly
in a
right.
way. You know what
And
I
I
mean? Like they
love
get
Radiohead as much as I love Tool. Exactly. Radiohead are
they,
like the Pink Floyd of nowadays.
and it's the name you'd say to sound cool, right? You'd
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I love Tool, I love Radiohead," and people don't push back on it and everything. It's a great way to give yourself some kind of cool factor, even
Well,
if you're
I'm
not a
not
music
doing
fan.
that. I loved them
I
back
know
in the
you're a real
90s.
musician. I mean, you're a musician.
I'm OG. If Tool
Yep.
fans are listening, they'll go, ha, when I just said OG, they'll know that reference. Back from 92, from the first EP.
Mr. D,
It's
I
a bit of
agree. Dana
Tool.
Carvey was amazing. Again, he's fucking almost 70, and he's better than the goddamn. My Saturday Night Live scenario was to fix that show. And I thought of this 20-something years ago. I said, you kick Lorne Michaels to the curb. If I were running NBC, I'd kick Lorne Michaels to the curb. You have no input anymore. You can't cast. You can't do anything. I don't give a shit. You're more out of touch than Hall Notes. Dana Carvey comes in and replaces Lorne Michaels, but he's also a cast member. And
Right.
so that's how I would fix the show.
Did you
And
ever watch the Dana Carvey show? The one they
Yes,
made?
I did.
Okay. Was it any
It
good?
was on, yeah, it was on ABC. You talk about you talk about a murderer's row of people. You have Colbert, Steve Carell, Louis C.K., Dana Carvey, Elon Gold did a Howard impression. There's actually a
Oh, wow.
documentary on that show, David, on Amazon.
Right. I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And Robert Smigel was the executive. It's incredible, the talent, but it lasted like 6 episodes or something,
Right.
or 10 or something. But yeah, he did George to have the range to do George Will and Elon Musk is crazy,
Yeah.
right?
It's so true.
Welcome,
But the
Diane
tool
T.
thing, John. The tool argument.
The argument?
You were
Oh yeah,
talking
no,
about.
okay. Now we were just talking about Tool and
I'm
where they
sorry.
stand.
Yeah, I
and-
know. I
So
interrupted
they have a
with my
huge. They have a
fandom.
huge. I remember going out in the '90s, and we'd be talking about music, and they would come up all the time, and I'm like, what? And they're just like I said, they have this cool factor. So as it turns out, my friend Brendan shows me this article, and it came out like 3 days ago, and there's like this long-standing feud with Howard and the lead singer. And so here I'll read this. It's so bizarre. I don't know if. By the way, Chauncey, before I forget, David was starstruck when you came on. Starstruck. Those
I
are
was
his
nervous.
words. He's such a fan. And Chauncey gets so many great compliments from the last show. Like I've been saying how underrated he is as an imp, a troublemaker, a ball buster. And people, you don't realize it's gone until it's gone. And he is the epitome of that. And you go back, why didn't we give him the credit where it was due? And yeah, David was starstruck. I swear
Yeah,
to God.
I mean, I've never been on a thing with someone who was actually involved in that show in a really extensive way. And I mean, even though I'm a hater of the show now, I'm a fan of the era that I'm a fan of. So it's I was nervous. Yes,
He was. I sat there for the whole show, thinking David had popped on. He was busy. He popped on just to
I
see
was
his
just listening.
intro for him, and then John just says it near the end. David, are you there? And then within like a second, he goes, "Yeah, I'm here." And I'm like, "Shit, you didn't talk for the whole show."
I'm just a
And then
witness to history,
And then you said something. You're very humble, and you said, "Well, I didn't know if it was my place." And then I thought, "Shit, have I been talking ttoo much through the whole show as well?" Then. And then the confusion was in the air.
I get pee shy sometimes. Yeah,
I'm talking like a pea shy. I love that metaphor. I tell him on text, I'm like, David, I know Chauncey is a massive A-list star. You have to just write your questions down and just rehearse it and stuff, and you'll be fine. I mean, I literally
I'll
said
be
that
wanting
to him
to be
yesterday.
kind of a localized experience as much as possible. Exactly what David said there. Yes, I agree.
So this is the article. It says Tool's long-withstanding feud with Howard Stern. Quote, "They're assholes" by Ben Forrest. God, Ben Forrest to me is classic Ben Forrest because nobody tackles rock and roll journalism like Ben Forrest. Maybe Matt Pinfield. This is vintage Forrest.
He's the Tabitha Sorensen of our day. Yeah.
Soren.
Soren, or whatever her name is. I forgot. I tried.
Doesn't matter. It's close
That's
enough.
okay. That's
we
good.
love it.
That's
we love the
good enough.
reference.
Close enough. Howard Stern has been one of the most renowned, formidable voices in American radio broadcasting for decades now, going all the way back to the 80s. Howard Stern show has been a regular fixture in American pop culture, providing a platform for countless different bands and musical artists to reach the masses, while the presenter himself is often noted as congenial and sometimes controversial attitude nerd metal outfit. Tool found out what it's like to get on the wrong side of the radio titan. I love when they do the adjectives at the radio titan. It's so gay.
Yeah,
Back in the 1990s, Tool was the forefront of it. You wouldn't see Steppin' Out magazine do that, by the way. Back in the 1990s, Tool.
Chauncey's laughing at that. He's loving it. He's wondering if he's ever going to get some airtime, but yeah.
He's coming on right after this. I love talking about Chauncey while he's lit. There's nothing better than
I
that.
can
There's
see him.
nothing-
He's got his U2 glasses on. He's looking like Bono right now.
He does.
He's
You
like
don't know
the
what
Fly.
You talk about like an editor-in-chief. J. Jonah Jameson has nothing on Chauncey Hayden. You talk about a ball buster. Deadlines. I dare Peter Parker to shoot photography for fucking Steppin' Out magazine in the 2000s. He would
Yeah,
be
if you,
out on his ass. Aunt May would be homeless if that were the case.
if you weren't on your game, you were
Forget
out
it.
the door.
What
Get
a
the
ball.
f out of here.
Yep.
Go back to talking to Trump on the phone, buddy.
Tool was at the forefront of an exciting new generation for American metal and alternative rock, led by Maynard James Keenan, white guy. The group quickly distanced themselves from virtually every other band in America by embracing experimentalism, visual and performing arts, and imbuing every release with a range of covert messages, references, and motifs that their incredibly dedicated cult found. Yeah, that's well said, actually. That's so Forrest, right? That's well said. Incredibly dedicated cult following quickly lapped up. Simultaneously, Tool's rise to success, Howard Stern was at the top of his game during the 90s, running amok on the airwaves of his radio show. Looking back, there are multiple moments within the Howard Stern show that were horrendously controversial, and some which have been far more controversial than they were viewed at the time. Nevertheless, there was no getting away from the commercial colossus that was 90s era Howard Stern. For a new emerging band, airtime on Stern's radio show, even for a few positive words from the presenter, was enough to seal a band's success for years to come, like Hum. So when Stern began to express his admiration of Tool's music, it could have been the beginning of an important new era for the group. However, things quickly turned sour, largely as a result of Tool's unique way of operating and how careful the band were with licensing rights. In 1993, Stern published his semi-autobiographical novel, Private Parts, we should call it science fiction, which was an immediate success. So the presenter quickly envisioned the book being adapted into a film, as was the trend with any semi-successful book of the 1990s. In the run up to Chauncey, if you have, I would love maybe your insight. Maybe you don't know, maybe you take a stab. How much money do you think, when you come on, do you think Howard made off the books? We cannot get, they were huge, and no one knows. Him and money, you know how tight-lipped and he tries to hide everything. But the books, what do you think he made from the books?
He's trying to talk. We should ask him that when he's
No,
on.
come on. In the run-up to the movies,
right now. I'm sorry.
Stern went about constructing its soundtrack. Features like Rob Zombie, The Ramones, Ozzy Osbourne, Deep Purple. The soundtrack was largely a reflection of Stern's constant support for the American rock and roll scene. Yeah, right. But he was keen to include a few modern artists too. Reportedly, he wanted to use Tool in the film, and licensing rights had been promised to him by the band's then record label Zoo Entertainment. Tool had a long-standing no soundtrack policy with their material, so they refused the offer. So when Stern increased he didn't increase shit. You think he paid out of his own pocket, you stupid fuck? He was willing to pay for Tool's music. The band refused, leaving with Zoo and Stern with egg on their faces. This debate over licensing commenced a feud between the radio presenter and Tool, which has never really been resolved. In 1997, Stern told Rock Flash, "Fuck Tool, fuck Zoo. I don't care if you print that. They're assholes." For their part, Tool has never made much of an effort to make amends with the radios, though it seems like they had difficulty to try to even reach him. Keenan's side project, Perfect Circle, once requested to appear on the Howard Stern show, only to be rejected by the presenter because of the Private Parts feud. "Howard Stern has been keeping me out of his studio for years," Keenan told Metal Edge in 2007. "I'm not even in New York, and this guy is talking about how I'm now in the lobby wanting to come up and talk to him." He says, "Get that guy out of here. I'm in LA, for Christ's sake." In more recent years, the relationship on the pair has witnessed some promising steps forward. Stern lending a new complimentary word to Tool's 2019 record, Fear Inoculum, during the radio show. For the most part, though, it seems as though the decades-old feud is still rambling on, preventing the pioneering prog metal band from ever regaining their position on Howard Stern's nice list. So I ferreted out the audio, what I could get. Thanks to Brendan for finding this article. I didn't even think I was going to get to this. And Chauncey, we're going to get to you in 1 second. So here's what I was able to cobble together from my ferreting archives. I actually, Chauncey, this is how you have a Chauncey folder.
Ferret. I'm ferret. I'm ferret. 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 Ferret.
I love it. I love it.
I've never seen that before.
There's a Chauncey folder on my computer, Chauncey. You have your own folder.
I've got.
Yeah, she has a new song, Skater Boy. She has a new song, and Sheryl Crow's new album was real good. And even though I'm still mad at Tool, I read a Bob Lefsetz column said, "Go listen to the new Tool album; it'll blow your mind." And
why are you mad at Tool?
What Howard and Bob Lefsetz? How sick of that? Howard tries to attach himself to like a couple of writers and shit, and anything they say he thinks is cool, and he tries to, Bob Lefsetz, Bob Lefsetz, Bob. He's like the only one left that likes you, Bob Lefsetz.
because don't you remember when I put out the movie, I had a soundtrack album, and Tool was going to sell me their cover. Not sell me. Well, yeah, I guess sell me. They were going to. They had committed to putting an 11-minute version of one of the Led Zeppelin songs. What song was it, Fred?
It was No Quarter.
You guys are talking over each other. What?
I think Gary's right. I think it was No Quarter.
No Quarter. Gary is right. No Quarter.
Do you guys hear how excited Gary was to try to spit out rock and roll knowledge? Like he's just such a fucking desperate nerd. No quarter, no quarter. Him and Fred hasn't talked in like 3 weeks, and he finally says no when he goes to. And they actually.
I have a band. I can answer their question.
I did the dumbest thing on Twitter. Is I was watching the NFL ticket. I was watching the Steeler Redskin game, and I had this dumb idea, and I made up a lie that D. Snyder made these comments about Fred, and so I wrote D. Snyder a tweet, and he retweeted it. And I go, D, I just listened to a Stern show, and you said Fred Norris's music is the rock and roll equivalent to New Balance cross trainers. It's so boring. I go, that was a great line by you, D. I was writing a joke for the Fred roast.
Right.
That I was going to do as Depp. And so I made pretend that D. Snyder said it on the show. And he's like, D's been on the show 1,000 times. He doesn't remember everything he said. He retweets. He's like, God, that's so great. He's DM'd me. He's like, God so damn it. I realized that was great.
Did you do it through the Deppening Twitter? Because
no, I did it on my own.
About,
Arm 34.
John,
Arm 34.
The promotion would have been great.
I know. I was thinking that too. I just couldn't. It was the Twitter handle is up, and I didn't want the moment to leave, so I just.
Because Sarah got Elon Musk replying to her a month ago, and you were furious that she didn't do it through the Deppening
I was
on
furious.
Twitter. You were. Oh God, the promotion.
Here we go.
Which I loved. And I was like, and so I cleared 11 minutes on the album. And at the last minute, they're like, you can't use it. So I had to fill 11 minutes with something else. But in their defense, they claimed they weren't even in on it. It was some management thing, but I don't know. But
I guess it's nice when celebrities appreciate your work, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
You'd appreciate
what
that
do you
if
mean?
somebody.
Because Howard's so available when people want him to do shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You remember the Mad Magazine did a documentary on one of the streaming channels, and Howard claims to be this huge Mad Magazine fan, and it shaped my comedy so much so that he stole Fart Man from National Lampoon.
National Lampoon.
And he turned him down. It's like, if your favorite thing in the whole world asks you to participate, like he's bigger than Mad Magazine, like he's too big to participate in this documentary where he's just going to be one of many people making comments and how they'll edit it and stuff. And he doesn't get he's such a fucking delusional.
He's too big for Transformers too. Remember?
Too big for Transformers, right?
Yeah.
Right. Even
big
worse.
mistake, that one. Big mistake.
He said, "Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Howard Stern."
And who is it?
I'm not saying that happened. I'm simply saying
that couldn't happen.
You'd be complimented if they did.
I thought there was a celebrity who was a big fan of mine, but you're saying that couldn't happen. What happened?
Tool, the group.
Tool.
The rock group.
Yeah, they're good.
Now he's pretending he barely remembers them. Tool.
Yeah, they're good.
I found out that Justin Bieber is a fan.
Oh.
Because Bieber shared some Tool lyrics last week on Instagram. Here's a little Tool for people who don't know.
I edited it. You're not going to get it'd be great to get a copyright though for that.
Yeah, also, like...
Let's see what song.
What's that, Abby?
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, Howard's not even listening to Robin. Like, she's doing the news, and he's just like swiveling in his chair.
He's completely. This is from 19. So he had been checked out. The news. He had been rushing through the news for well over 15 years by that point, right? I mean, in 2019, she's barely going to finish her story. The Flintstones.
Yeah, that's where. Right, that's where the quote, like, anything else Robin comes from, is just like Howard's just, waiting out the clock until the show is over, till Robin's mouth closes.
We almost called this show back on. We almost called this show that name. Anything else Robin? That was almost the name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
That was like the second choice.
You picked out. That's
getting to a vocal there.
Sorry.
But anyway, responding to the news of having Bieber as a fan, Tool frontman Maynard James Keenan simply tweeted, "Bummer." Hashtag
bummer. Why? Why do they pick on that kid? I mean, I know he's kind of like, why would you read? They were hoping for a different celebrity?
I guess.
2019, Howard is defending picking on Justin Bieber, who's probably everything wrong with the state of music and why real musicians can't make it in this climes today.
There's fake news and then there's fake music, and he pioneered it.
Just the very personification of what's wrong with pop culture and music today. Just a bubblegum manufactured bullshit, where the mom, showbiz mom, everything wrong with it.
Yes, they were like, oh, finally a celebrity. Who is it? Bieber. Oh, bummer.
Give the kid a break.
Because Howard wants to F him in the ass, is why.
Right.
Is he a bad person or something? I mean, the way people,
Well, I guess you could like or not like his music.
I like that
Maybe
"Suck My Dick" song. He does.
This horrible parody. I cut it. Believe it.
I'll suck your ween.
I'll suck your ween. Ooh, give me your.
I'm looking at Chauncey's face, listening to contemporary Howard, and it's just. Is this the same show that I called?
We're getting to you. We're getting to you, Chauncey. Just another 45 minutes, and then
I'll suck your ween.
I know the word.
Go ahead.
Give me your penis, and I'll start to glow. I'll suck your ween, or I'll start to blow.
How many song periods? How many? Are you kidding? Bieber should just fire back at him and go, "Listen, dude. Okay, maybe I'm not as cool as Tool, but you dudes would be lucky to mow my lawn. I made a lot of scratch in this industry. You can suck my dick. Come suck my ween. Ooh."
That story about Beth and the landscaper, right? When he had the landscaper fired. It was a very Chubby Pickle scenario where how they have those Bobcat lawnmowers and you're doing the rows, and Howard's got like 7 acres that go into 4 miles of the Atlantic Ocean. So the guy is just cruising around. He does the guinea line, comes back and sees Beth getting into the limo, and he just sees her and hey, what's going on? Just waves. They're instructed to not make eye contact with Howard and Beth, and the guy, they lost the landscape company lost the account.
Bid.
Yeah. So they fired their landscaper because the guy made eye contact with Beth, and Beth's all cross-eyed. So how could you even know if you're making eye
Right.
Ooh. Come suck your ween. No, fuck Tool.
Yeah. Well, that's why I put it in those terms. You can relate.
Yeah, I mean, give the kid a break. He's a kid. How old is he?
Well, he's in his 20s now.
Oh, is he? I know, he's got all those tattoos of be all manly. But, I mean, what did he do? He's just like, I enjoy Tool.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was incredibly successful.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want from that kid? Anyway, you've heard that moms everywhere have always relied on ginger ale.
Tony, hey now, what's happening in Fort Myers, Florida?
Hey, what up, Howard?
Hey now.
Hey, that song you were just mentioning, No Quarter? That was actually a cover by Tool off an album called Survival.
That's correct. Tool, who was supposed to give me a cover version of No Quarter for my movie soundtrack.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, and they didn't?
No, they rescinded at the last minute, leaving a big 11-minute hole in the soundtrack.
Oh.
Really?
Is that the right word, rescinded?
When are you going to have those guys?
Sounds good enough.
Redacted,
turned down,
regurgitated.
You're not going to have them into the show?
They decided not to.
I don't know. Tool hasn't offered to come in on the show.
Shit.
Not a question of me. It's a real good version, though.
I have it if you want.
What was the song? It wasn't No Quarter, was it? It was it? Yeah.
It was, and you were pissed.
Oh, yeah.
You were pissed. And it's not entirely true.
Was it pissed? I'm coming out with the soundtrack for Private Parts. The first commitment I got was from Tool, who said you can have the 11-minute version of No Quarter. In fact, they would have even edited it down. I listened to it. I said, no way you're editing this. This is so friggin' good. I'm honored to have it on my soundtrack. And it was the first thing I committed to. And then at the last minute, they wouldn't sign off on it, and I got an 11-minute hole. And I got to get this thing done. Because they're saying we want it to be released the day of your movie, or the week of your movie, or something like that.
I remember how angry you were.
Come on. They fucked me.
Yeah, they did. So what's the guy's name from Tool? Maynard? He had
Maynard G. Krebs.
He had a band called Perfect Circle.
Circle of Jerk.
No, Perfect Circle. And there were a couple of songs on that we really liked, and he wanted to come in, and you were like, no.
Yeah, right. No. Fuck you.
Did you put something weird in the liner notes to Private Parts?
Yeah.
Regarding that?
Yeah, they claim that they never committed to putting it on the soundtrack. But according to the guy putting the whole thing together, we had a we had a verbal commitment anyway. And the guy seemed...
I don't know where the confusion is.
I don't know. Who gives a shit? But that is a good song. Man, I was stoked to have that on the soundtrack to Private Parts.
So he lies and says the guy is, now this is like because there's no way they didn't connect it to a date, that the guy is Chauncey will attest to this. They love doing this move. This is a Gary move. They love claiming they turn people down. They love saying this guy can't stop coming up, trying to get on he would make up lies. Chauncey's no stranger to that. He would make up lies all the time about Chauncey's been calling me all weekend trying to get on the show. They love that shit. To the point where he'll make up a lie that someone's waiting in a lobby. And as Maynard said, I'm in fucking LA. I'm not waiting in your lobby. You can't believe anything he says, especially in regards to guests canceling on the show, or this guy's been calling me all week to get on. Do you see him doing that, Bon? You know him better than anyone does. Aren't they like completely, integrity?
There's no way he wouldn't comment. Like, he's only been on Joe Rogan a lot. That's the only show he really goes on. And apart from that, before the internet, you never heard about him. He never made comments in the media. Like, he was that's why they called them like the Pink Floyd of alternative bands, because a lot of people didn't even know what they look like. They've just heard their hit song and all that kind of stuff. So he couldn't give a shit. He
has to be aware of what a poser Howard is. Right, to not know Howard. There's a joke about like Ice Cube is always in films is more interested in the soundtrack than the movie. That's what Howard is. He's obsessed with the soundtrack. Work on the fucking movie. That's why it's so goddamn mediocre. Stop with the soundtrack. He's obsessed with the soundtrack.
It's never even happened because Tool never. They had a rule that they'd never allow their music to be in movies, and until 2019, when that album came out, Fear Inoculum, their music wasn't. They didn't have their music on any streaming, Spotify, YouTube, and then they decided in 2019 to pull up. Before then, you couldn't listen to it on Spotify or anything. They just said nah, because they're an albums band. They want you to listen to their whole album. They don't want you to just listen to their one song, like everybody does these days. Anyway, they decided to change that. But I doubt they ever knew about Private Parts until he started whining.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I'm sorry. That's hysterical that Howard thinks Private Parts is going to be like a movie that's known for its soundtrack, like Breakfast Club or The Big Chill or something. Yeah, like it's such a horrible movie. And
it seems like he spent 80% of his time worried about the soundtrack, but not that he likes. It's just he's trying to look cool. Like Jose Villataro nails it here, and Chauncey probably knows this as well. Like I've heard Chauncey, make this insult out. Howard thinks when you bring up a '90s band, he acts like he's in his 20s and 30s when the band came out. So Howard is successfully fooled, or in his own head, fooled the audience into thinking he's Generation X. Howard's
It's
70 years old.
Another
and he
15
thinks
minutes, Chauncey. We're getting
Yeah.
close now. We're getting real close. Starting to get blue balls right now. I could feel it. We're getting close to Chauncey,
Yeah, we're done.
everybody.
So, with that said, here's the man himself, Chauncey. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you for
Thank you for your
Sorry.
service. Chauncey is a Navy man, and David, I know you people don't like to serve in the military too often, but had you wanted to, the Navy is the branch you people would choose. Right? Oh, that's all we get. So David again, brilliant. He composed Chauncey's theme song, for Christ's sake.
Well, I arranged
This is Chauncey's theme song. So I should have played it first, but what the hell?
Chauncey, your mic's mute. Oh,
Chauncey, you are muted right now. In case
your
you didn't.
mic. Check your mic, Chaunce. You are muted.
You are
David,
muted.
great job on that. I love you do
Yeah.
bass notes on the keyboard. You're doing
Thank
root
you,
note
yeah,
changes
yeah.
like a
It's
bass
a great song.
guitar.
Do you know Joe Jackson, Bon?
No.
Yeah, he's like a, what would you call him? He's in the genre of like a Bruce Hornsby or a Billy Joel, like piano pop rock that would. And he's had 3 or 4 like popular songs, but he has a cult following of his own, and great. You don't hear much from him anymore. That's his big hit, "Stepping Out," and that's Chauncey's
Okay.
magazine. Yep.
Chauncey, let's work on your mic right now. We cannot hear you.
Anything?
I can't
Chauncey,
help him.
sing Gloria or Heart Song.
You got a mute button on that mic now. Now it's muting, and now it's not.
Calling Gloria. No. Look at Chauncey's background, though, everyone. There he is.
There he is. Oh, okay, Chauncey. Listen.
Wait.
You sing.
I've
got to mute you, Chauncey.
Sorry, Chauncey, you're using
There's a
your
reverb.
speakers. The sound is coming through your speakers, so I just heard my voice blasting, and oh boy, do I hate hearing my voice.
Bon, what would remedy
waiting.
that?
How is this?
Good.
No,
more
I'm
echo.
muting you again, Chauncey, because I can still hear my voice. It's coming through. It's not coming through your headphones.
So he has to make sure
the head.
How is this?
It's stable.
It's still coming through. I'm muting you again. It's still coming through your speakers on your. If you take off your headphones, you're probably hearing my voice in the room. See?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that good?
No. I'm muting you again because the fact
Chauncey,
is that
where
we
echoing
should
when
only.
you come on?
You should be hearing my voice just through your headphones, but you've got it coming through the speakers. So we're hearing all of our voices. So you're going to want to put your headphones back on. Let's go through this step by step. We're
He
stepping
sounded
out.
good on. We were off the air. He
I
sounded
know.
fine.
Plug your headphones in. This is
Sunflower
Lotus
Dragons.
Notes being professional right now.
I'm gonna start a petition to make.
Now
Arms
tell
stop
me
saying
when you
he-
hear my voice through your headphones only, and turn down.
That's so great. He's like Martian Manhunter, using invisibility.
Oh, look at this. Yep, we're still got the sound coming through your speakers on your laptop or your computer speakers. You're going to turn, if you can unplug your speakers.
Hold on, I'm going to do that now. Hold on.
Okay. Yep,
It's
still coming through the speakers. I don't know.
It's us that's reverbing, not so much him, right? When he comes on, because he's listening. When we talk, we hear it. There it is.
Yeah, but he's got the sound coming in his room instead of through his headphones. Okay, I'll try it again. No, it's still happening. I'm just going to mute that again.
What if we take him out and come back? We think that'll do anything, or is that just the, you know?
How is this, guys?
Oh, let's see.
Is this good?
You hear my voice?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to fix it. Hold on. All right, how is this?
Can I hear my voice?
Yes, I can. You hear this?
It's still.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you, but
we're echoing.
You're echoing. You're echoing?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Let's try that.
What did you do something, Bon?
Yeah, I'm trying a bit of echo cancellation, but that's not working either.
He was fine. Chauncey, if you remember, do exactly what you did last time. I mean, I'm sure you are. I don't know why suddenly.
Yeah, he's actually killed his whole mic now. I'm not hearing him. You've muted everything, which is, I guess it's a start.
What if he turns his mic off and just speaks into the Zoom of it all, or you don't have to have a mic, do you?
At this point, I'd be happy with anything, but the problem is that he's hearing. He had our voices coming through the speakers, so that's an issue. So
Welcome,
we
Edward
can't
T.
hear you at all now, Chauncey.
Welcome, Edward T. Rush. Welcome, Crazy Robin. We talked about Crazy Robin before. Yeah, Sunflower. You're right. I'll say you people because I have a towel snap pass from the gay community. That's why.
And you
Right,
don't.
guys?
You can't hear me now.
We can hear you.
you. Ah, we're
You can't-
working.
Seems good. Seems like it's good now.
Is this okay?
What do you think, Bon?
Yeah.
What'd you do, Chauncey? You just took the
I
mic off?
unplugged the Yeti. I'm going right into the computer.
I got your Yeti right here, pal.
You can hear
Good.
us nice?
Yes.
Yeah, I
good.
hear you guys. Great.
That's
All right,
fine.
should we play the show intro again?
Yeah, it's just I know.
Chauncey,
Wait.
welcome to the show, Chauncey, and to spare you for what you've just had to go through. This is Chauncey's book. I'm just
Thank
going to
you.
promote for you, buddy. This
Thank
is his
you.
book that he's here to promote. He's spent a lot of time working on this, The Legends of Comedy by Chaunce Hayden. 3 decades of interviews, and let's have a look at the list of the interviews. Chauncey, read them out.
See, Andrew Dice Clay, Artie, Bill Maher, Bobcat Goldthwait, Carrot Top, Cheech Marion, Colin Quinn, Conan O'Brien, Daryl Hammett, David Tell, David Allen Greer, David Brenner, David Spade, Dennis Miller, Don Mayera, Don Rickles, George Burns, George Carlin, Gilbert Gottfried, Howie Mandel, Jackie Mason, Jay Moore, Jay Leno, Jim Brewer, Jim Norton, Will Ferrell, and it goes on and on. Jimmy Kimmel,
Joan
Joe
Rivers,
Piscopo, Julie Louise Dreyfus, Larry the Cable Guy, Louis Black, Margaret Chow, Michael Richards, Pat Cooper, remember Paula Poundstone?
Yes. She had a huge pedophile thing.
I
if you
know.
remember. It
It
was
destroyed her
crazy.
career. She
Yes, it was
vanished
I won't
after
make you
that.
go through them all, but that's the book. I think everybody needs to look at the pictures on the cover there. Wow, what's his name on the bottom left? I can't remember
George
his
Carlin
name.
and
George
Richard Pryor.
Carlin, Richard Pryor,
Richard
Rosie,
Pryor looking.
Diane.
Oh, that's right. he
What
had
got cut off on the
Parkinson's or
bottom,
something.
and their pictures are on the back. Shuli Egar and
It's Shuli Egar. I'm looking through this.
There's a
QR.
special forward from Shuli.
Sandra, it's missing after Sandra Bernhard. There's no Shuli Egar. Oh, Chauncey, how are you, buddy? And look at the
doing
book. How's how are you going with the book? Are you happy with the reception?
I'm working on getting it on Amazon and selling it there. I'm still in the process of working that all out. So I'm trying to get it up for the holidays. That's my goal.
Beautiful.
we'll put the link in the video, Chauncey, for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that done hopefully within the next week, and then I'll send you guys the link. And
Great work.
It's so eclectic, that list of comedians, and Chauncey's been so generous with it. Help him out. Buy that book, Chauncey. Can you promote is your Scores book still for sale?
No, I didn't have a Scores book. I had a Scores column where every week I would do gossip from inside Scores that was sponsored by Scores.
But why did the book come out? Remember when you got
there was a movie. There was a movie coming out.
Right.
It was going to be a movie, and I wrote a screenplay, but they threatened to sue me, and it was a whole big thing, and it hasn't happened. And then I kind of let it go, but I would still like to make that happen one day.
You absolutely should. You should do. I think you should spearhead it. You and AJ Benza should get together and do a documentary and sell it to one of. He's got a lot of connections.
Oh,
AJ
and I were like two peas in a pod back then. Like both of us at Scores every night, the two of us.
Did you know that he was? This is actually real, and he's not really a liar. That Harvey Weinstein was going to produce a gossip movie about him, Fame Ain't a Bitch, and Depp was going to play AJ.
I believe that because AJ was a great friend to Harvey. I don't know if AJ wants anybody to know that now.
Oh, he owns it. He owns it. Yeah. He owns it, Chauncey. He's not afraid of that.
All the projects that AJ had coming out, Harvey was backing. Harvey loved AJ, loved him. So AJ had a lot to look forward to, and then something happened.
But it's not as if he doesn't have other connections in the industry that you two could cobble together your friends of friends and then put an actual documentary on Scores would be amazing. It doesn't have to be just Scores. You could do the other adjacent things. That would be incredible.
Yeah, a documentary, even a mini series.
Yeah,
people playing the part of all these celebrities like Charlie Sheen, Mickey Rourke, even Chuck Zito could play himself. Chuck Zito could play. Nobody could play Chuck Zito. Chuck Zito. But that would be great. I would love any that kind of nostalgia if anyone's still interested. I don't know what people are interested in anymore. I'm so jaded. I'm so jaded and full of hate and rage.
Oh God, we all are.
I don't.
We try to keep up with what the kids are saying on this show. We're always looking for what the kids are into, what they're saying, the hot words. And look, we've got David here. David is a bit starstruck, I think. David, say hello.
Yeah, have some
Chauncey.
dialogue. Please,
Chauncey, say hello to David.
Hey, David. And by the way, David, I'm not some asshole wearing sunglasses on a podcast. There's something about your screen. If I don't wear these sunglasses, I have no eyes. Like,
oh, I get what you mean because of the eyebrows. The eyebrows, yeah, I get you.
No eyes and no eyebrows. It's like just slits. And,
I know. I get it.
People think I'm making fun of the Asian community, but
no.
That's how they look. So I wear the sunglasses so my eyes are protected because the brightness just blinds me.
Chauncey, this is how much a big star you are to David. This is a guy, no, seriously, he's a composer. He's an actually film soundtrack composer. He's worked weddings for Josh Brolin with Barbara Streisand and her big schnozola in just the right angle, watching him compose at Josh Brolin's wedding. He did Topher Grace's wedding, and he did Troy Aikman's wedding. And he's nervous around you.
Yeah.
He's nervous around you.
Now I'm Star Trek. Now I'm the Star Trek.
David, I mean, David, you put together that beautiful piano intro for Chauncey.
That's who did the intro, Chauncey.
That really?
Yes.
You're the one that did that intro?
Of course.
me.
That's glorious.
That's amazing.
So
David,
Oh, thank you.
say hello to Chauncey.
That was fun. Yes,
Yeah,
hello.
so you know who I am.
I do, yeah.
Oh,
I should
David
probably
knows
tell my story.
everything
You may be the
about
only
you.
one on the planet who actually knows.
No, we know you. I'm in Australia, Chauncey. I'm in Australia and we know you. Come on, man.
Well, I don't know if I told you the story. My ex-wife was in Greece back in the early 2000s, and she was on vacation with her girlfriends, and they were drinking at this beach bar, and the bartender said to my ex-wife, she goes, what do you do for a living? She told him. He goes, are you married? She goes, yeah, I have a husband. He goes, what does he do for a living? He goes, oh, he's a journalist, and he's always on this radio show. People know. And the guy goes, that's not Chauncey from the Howard Stern show. I was in Greece.
I was
That's
hoping
epic.
I was hoping he knew Stepping Out magazine in Greek.
Yeah.
If it was like translated.
No, he did. They knew the whole story. They knew the whole thing. That was the
great.
power, but that was the power of the show back then. Now I challenge you to ask 1,000 people on a city street who Howard Stern is, and they probably wouldn't know.
Boom. Gotcha.
When you
Nice one.
graciously did Radio Gunk the first time, this has got to be now. Can you believe this is almost 10 years ago when you did that? And
I
yeah,
can't believe
I swear to God, it was me. I was with Monique, and I'm talking. I'm like, you gotta have Chauncey on. You gotta have Chauncey on. He just doesn't hold back. He knows everything. You gotta have him. You got.
Yeah. I was
You were
living
on
in Jersey
quite a
City.
few times. You were popping in on episodes. You'd come on for 20 minutes, and then you were just you were this vessel of information.
But you know what? I got to give the show credit back then, because that was still a time when the haters were in full force.
Yes.
The Howard Stern brainwashing that Chauncey is evil. Chauncey tried to destroy the show. We're all great, and all the fans got to stick together and fuck Chauncey. That was still going on then. So
I know.
all of a sudden to get this voice that was friendly, that got it, that understood the bullshit of it all.
It's crazy, and you lived up to every bit of it. But remember, you and I had a DM.
Did I lose you? I lost you.
John, are you there?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Johnny? Well, I guess you had DMs with John. John's had various DMs. Apparently, I have a classic. Wait a sec. Can I find it right now? Can I find it? Where is Stuttering John? Listen to this.
Can I ask Arm a question? Why don't you respond to my DMs? Why not?
Wait.
He had a big thing going with Stuttering John on where John was DMing.
Yeah,
you
John,
did,
heard that?
John.
Yeah, Chauncey and I had a DM-a-thon. He figured out somehow, this is the sleuth that he is, that his ex-wife was following me on Twitter. And then he and I went back. This is before he moved to Ireland. It's just before he went to Ireland.
This is an investigation, it sounds like.
He's like,
they
why is
both
my
worked.
ex-wife... What?
You both worked out you were investigating his ex-wife following you, John, on Twitter.
Yeah. He went through...
How the hell does that? I love that.
In order to do that, he had to go through, I guess I had like 3,000 followers. He had to go through every follower to figure out who was on.
And that's, I guess your ex-wife really turned out to be the witch by the sounds of it. If it was getting to that point, Chauncey, was it a horrible divorce, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a horrible divorce. It
I'm
was. Well, I got a
sorry.
19-year-old girl pregnant, so that did that.
Oh, wow.
That's why I live in Ireland.
Wow.
I was working at Fox News. I was doing like commentary, so talking head on Fox News. And around the corner from the studio was this bar called Rosie O'Grady's, and in Manhattan. And I would go in there, and this Irish server came up to me one day and said, you seem like a nice guy. If you ever want to have tea with me, I would love to sit with you and have some tea. I'm like,
Wow.
you want to have tea with me? I was like, I never had tea in my life. And she was adorable. Like, she was so cute. I never thought, about age or anything. She's working at Rosie O'Grady. She's got to be, of legal age. So we started having tea, and then one day, after a couple of cups of tea, she said, "Oh, you're gonna have my baby. You're gonna be a dad."
What?
Oh my!
And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So the first thing I did was go on Facebook and look her up, and she's in a Catholic schoolgirl outfit.
Oh my God!
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh my fucking God! What just happened? What just happened?"
Hey,
And
Chauncey, they just renamed the bar to Roman Polanski O'Grady's.
Oh, John.
And I said, "Send me your passport. I want to see your passport. Show me your passport." So she sent me a copy of her passport. She was 19.
Ouch.
I was 52 or 53.
I mean, you say that it's very easy for us to go, "Oh, Chauncey, robbing the cradle, what a dirty old man." If you're put in that situation, Chauncey dares you to say no. He dares you.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to say no. Why would you
That
say
is
no?
classic.
But then again, it sounds like entrapment too, because she could be on the Jump Street for us. Like she said, I want to. Like it's like she wants to be knocked up. She wants that Stepping Out magazine money. And
Well, that's the first thing I thought. She was part of the empire.
Yes.
So the Stepping Out empire. So I blocked her on Facebook. I changed I blocked her on my email, and I blocked her on my phone, and I never heard from her again.
Yeah.
And I heard she went back to Ireland. So 9 months go by, and it's a Saturday morning, and my wife says, "Oh, the mail's here," and I said, "Oh, go get the mail and open it up." And I'm making omelets, and she goes, "Who do you know in Dublin?" I go, "I don't know anybody in Dublin." Open it up, and it's pictures of my daughter being born.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that I guess your life flashed before your eyes.
Oh my God. It was bad. And she just puts the envelope on the kitchen table and says, "Oh, you have a child," and walked out of the room.
But you're kind of like going, "Wait, come back. I'm just finding out about this now too."
well, yeah, I'm as shocked as you are. So, and the baby looked exactly like me, even at 2 days old. It looked like me. It's like my face, 2 days old. So my life changed after that completely. Everything changed after that.
Chauncey, David has a question. He says he asked. It's an odd question, even though he's a very cerebral guy. He wants to know if you have a baby and you have hair plugs, does the baby get the hair plugs or your original?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I don't even answer it, Chauncey.
That was my greatest fear.
Don't dignify it.
My greatest fear was that Poppy would have scars on the back of her head and plugs. So I had to come to Ireland, and it was the first thing I checked for. Yes, absolutely. And the answer there is no, he's not near it. The plugs and the scars, no. Thank God.
I think I'm safe to say you pull off the shaved head thing very well, sir. You really do.
You look pretty.
Lucky. I got lucky. Some people aren't so lucky, but they did such a bad job that you wouldn't even know I got plugs, because the job that goes garbage in is so bad that you can't even see anything. You can't see anything. So.
And by the way, speaking of which, thank you for your service, sir. You are the David Robinson of celebrity journalism gossip of the tri-state area. And may we call you Admiral, because thank you for your service, sir.
You're welcome. I served. You can call me Admiral, although that would be
It's happening.
That would actually be stolen valor. So I should say no.
Oh wow!
You don't want stolen valor. But I was in the U.S. Navy Fighter Squadron VF-32 on board the USS John F. Kennedy, the aircraft carrier, during the Iran hostage crisis. I was part of that. Now here's a great. To pull this back to Stern, here's a great Stern story. So when I had the big falling out, Who is that moron that ran the news department there? That Howard.
Steve
brought in?
Langford.
Steve Langford. So I get a call from Steve Langford at my office, and he goes, Chauncey, and he has that new
Yes.
that Simpsons news anchor
Dave
voice,
Cash. Yes.
like something from the Simpsons.
I want you to go to jail.
So we did some investigation, and what we've uncovered is that you were never in the military, and you're lying, saying you were in the Navy.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, oh, really? I said, what name have you been researching? He goes, well, your name, Chaunce Hayden. We've been looking up Chaunce Hayden. Now that's not my legal name. So I was born Stephen Hayden, and then my stepfather adopted me when I was 18. So my legal name became Stephen Dowsett. So in the Navy, if you don't look up Stephen Dowsett, you're not going to, that's all you, that's me. That's who I am. So I'm like, you fucking, you're a journalist?
That's crazy.
I said, you're a journalist. I said, you're a fucking idiot. I go, first you have to learn my name before you investigate whether or not I've been in the military or not. You stupid piece of shit. And he just
call
goes,
it harassment and against the law.
and he just goes, okay. And he hangs up the phone.
Damn. Did you record
we
the
all know
conversation?
a little Spanish, a little
No,
French.
I didn't hang it up, but I never heard from them again after that.
Speaking of the name Chauncey, this is a truth. One of our co-hosts, Sarah, she's in the chat right now.
Yeah.
She sits in a lot. It's she's a total fucking ball buster. Really. She lives in Oregon. She lives in Oregon.
Oh,
And her mom-
I used to have a girlfriend in Roseburg, Oregon.
Okay. She is in Salem.
I used to be in Roseburg.
Because it's the law in Oregon, they have to be super Portland Trailblazer fans.
Okay.
And her mom says to Sarah, she goes, we're having this guy Chauncey on. And her mom goes, do you mean Chauncey Billups, the coach of the Blazers? And she goes, yep, that's exactly right. So the only other Chauncey in existence is Chauncey Billups, a basketball player.
Yes.
Who's the coach of the, and she thought that was you.
No,
I've never
that's
had
not
the thought to listen to a podcast and go on and insult somebody on a personal level.
That's her, Chauncey.
That's her.
We'll get her
Go ahead,
on one
Chauncey.
day so she can talk to
But-
you. So she's
Okay.
lovely.
I would like to talk to her. And the other Chauncey is Steven Spielberg's dog. He has a
Wow.
dog named Chauncey.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And of course, the final Chauncey would be Chauncey Gardner from the movie Being There.
Oh, good one. Good reference. Yes, sir. Thank you, sweet Lou Sonis. Welcome, Sky Spectre and Autobot and everyone. Chauncey, speaking of Steve Langford, I guess we got to go with that. The ferret. I'm going to thank our friend Boff because he gave me a wrap-up show that P. Diddy was on the Stern Show in 2006. And so listening to this wrap-up show, trying to find anything I could about P. Diddy and Howard's relationship, at the end, I hear you again on a fucking news report, and here it is. It gets so crazy. I can't believe you've 8 minutes of news reports. This is such an insane story. Chauncey got death threats from the Stern Fed, not just one person, Dathian, who we found out last time. It was several people. And I didn't know that until I listened to this news report that there were several people. Could you imagine getting multiple death threats? And that I don't think you were cavalier about it, speaking of Cleveland. And I think it had to be, you remember like with Trump and the insurrection that he got his minions to do his bidding. And I think you have a case of suing Howard because he was deploying all these maniacs on you. And we'll get to that after that because you could sue him. You easily could have sued him. If you didn't already, you might have, and we don't know it. And I'm going to ask you that. So this is the first news report, which we did not hear. This is Chauncey on Howard 100 News. There's no way you've ever heard this. I don't know how I found it. And this is Steve Langford talking about Chauncey and the Stern Fan Network and the death threats. Part one.
100 News. Give Sirius a subscription. We'll give you Howard News. Howard 100.
Howard 100.
The Stern Fan, who allegedly posted.
Wait a minute. I think that's the second one. Let's do there's another one. That's the one I want to do first because it's like a chronological thing. Chauncey. Here it is.
This is what he does.
I'm
Look.
ferret. I'm ferret. I'm
This is the
ferret. Ferret.
There it is. That's John. in a computer setting you up there,
I
John.
love
Go
the
for it.
I love the Moon Knight Swami music in the background. That's good. Here we go.
That.
And tonight, exclusive details on the latest move by police in Bergen County, New Jersey. Howard 100 News reporter Steve Langford has been following the story. He's here in the studio now, live with us with the latest.
Howard 100. Breaking news.
George and Ralph, maybe those death threats against Chaunce Hayden were meant to be funny, if death threats are ever funny. But Bergen County, New Jersey police clearly don't see any humor.
Chauncey, can I ask you before I play more? The Steve Langford conversation you have, is it before this?
I don't know. I never.
This is May of
heard
06. This is May of 06.
I honest to God don't know. I wouldn't remember that. Yeah.
Because I wanted to know, because if you cursed him out, he might have had an axe. Langford might have had an axe to grind with you, so he's kind of coming after you now.
It was coming. It was coming from so many different angles back then. I was getting it from all sides every day, so it's impossible to parse out at what time things were happening.
It's crazy. It's so scary. So here we go.
Humor in them. And now, one individual has been charged with making a terroristic threat against Chaunce Hayden. The cops, tight-lipped at this point, telling Howard 100 News that the individual lives in another state, not New Jersey, and will face potential extradition to the Garden State. What's more, Bergen County cops telling us that 2 to 3 other death or bodily harm threats against Chaunce Hayden are active investigations. Police won't say which alleged threats, if any, come from postings on the Stern Fan Network website or come from emailings or voicemails. Bergen County Sergeant Detective Andrew D'Onofrio telling Howard 100 News that police have no choice but to take threats seriously. For those who suggest that certain threats against Chaunce Hayden are jokes, the detective suggests that will be up to a judge to decide. As for Chaunce Hayden himself, Bergen County cops won't say whether special security has been provided for Hayden. Hayden himself telling Howard 100 News the charge filed against the individual who allegedly threatened him is, quote, a good thing. I know I'm hated, Hayden says, but tomorrow it could be you being threatened or Howard or anyone. As for whoever threatened him, Hayden says he hopes their life is ruined. If I can send them to jail for 100 years, I will, Hayden tells us. Howard 100 News has also...
Isn't there anything funnier than when a serious news guy reads like a crazy quote like that and he tries to read it like with straight, he tries to do the straight man thing? There's nothing funnier than that. I'm not done yet. Here we go.
Also spoken to Mutt, who runs the Stern Fan Network, where at least one perceived threat against Chaunce Hayden is believed to have been posted. Mutt says he has no comment on the terroristic threat charge filed against an individual, other than to say, quote, I am no longer interested in giving a human toilet attention, end of quote. And Mutt has no comment about claims by Hayden that he may sue Mutt and the Stern Fan Network for alleged slanderous postings on SFN. Again, one individual, unidentified, has been charged with making a terroristic threat against Steppin' Out magazine writer Chaunce Hayden. More charges against others could follow. Ralph and George?
Very good. Thank you very much. Howard 100 News reporter Steve Langford there. He'll keep us posted on anything new that happens on this story.
And something. So there's a second part, and we'll play it again to.
Well, I got to stop you for a
There's
second.
so much in there. I don't know.
You know
where to
Ralph
start.
Howard, the reporter Ralph Howard. I was banging his daughter at the time.
Oh, did he know?
Oh my God!
Was he aware?
That makes two of us.
No, he didn't know. He didn't know.
And were you considering suing
Holy shit.
Stern Fan Network, Chauncey?
I don't honestly.
I don't think you were you?
I don't
really?
think I was. I don't think I was. I really
No.
wasn't in that kind of mindset. You know.
Yeah.
I had moved on.
I'm not a litigious person, Chauncey, but this is domestic terrorism. This Howard riled them up. I'm listening to the show. I was on Stern Fan Network. Were you on Stern Fan Network at any point?
Yeah,
as an actual
at one point I was,
poster?
but I was, and I think today you probably could sue. Back then, suing wasn't a thing. Like, it was because radio was outrageous. Everything was so outrageous back then. Now that would be so over the top and so wrong. I probably could sue and win.
If you notice, Mutt, who hosts the Superfan Roundtable, no comment. He had no comment because his lawyer told him to have no comment because he thought he was going to get sued. You should have. You easily could have.
I should have.
That he deployed these people for this 4 people threatening your life. Did you hear what he said? They extradited the broad who we're about to hear from.
Yeah.
Dathian was her name, from Ohio to New Jersey to arrest her.
Well, like I said last time, they knocked on her door and they told her why they were there, and they said, "You're not really going to kill him, are you? That's a joke. It's a prank." And they said, no. She said, "No, I'm seriously. I'm going to kill him. If I see him, I'm going to kill him." And the detective said, "You don't understand why we're here. We're gonna arrest you, bring you on a plane, and bring you back to Bergen County, unless you tell us you don't want to kill him."
She's doing what that guy did in the Delphi murders. She's just admitting guilt.
Yeah, they're like trying to
What is this
help her. They're trying to. She's a mother with kids, and they're trying to say to her, "You don't understand what we're about to do to you."
Is it to show how dumb some people are in this world? It's like,
She's from Ohio. And this could be a televised trial. This would be amazing. Could you imagine watching this trial? There's 4 people threatening his, and you're sort of like,
by
the
the number 1 radio host in the country set these people out to kill me, like Charles Manson.
He did.
I was the next what's her face? Polanski's ex-wife that got chopped up.
Tate. Yes.
Sharon Tate. I'd be the next Sharon Tate. And how would it be the next Charles Manson?
Or who's the David Koresh? He looks exactly like David Koresh.
Dave Koresh. Yeah, but only Dave Koresh had real hair. It wasn't a wig.
Listen, I listened to every second of the show back then, and he definitively deployed listeners to come after you with wink wink language about make Chaunce's life. How he did it all. Do you know how he operates?
Yeah. No, he did.
At this picture, how dumb. What do you think of these costumes, Chaunce? Every jacket is ill-fitting in this picture.
I'm so glad I wasn't part of that. That could, I look at that and think that could have been me. That came so close to being me. I dodged the fucking bullet. I think
did. Chauncey got your. I think Shuley got your job.
He did.
I think you were supposed to be Shuley. I really did.
I was going to be the Shuley. And I look at it, and every night before I go to bed, I thank God that didn't happen to me.
You and AJ could have had an incredible, if he had any balls, if he had any creative vision, if he wasn't a selfish prick, and you and Chauncey could have, you and AJ Benzer could have the most incredible gossip show on Howard 101.
That would have been huge. Me and AJ on the Stern Network back then. Yep. It would have been huge.
The second channel. That's that's how I would have programmed
it. It would have been. It would have been.
Hey, Chauncey, there's no statute of limitations. We see lawsuits all the time in the Me Too movement coming up now, right? They're paying people out from 30 years ago. Relitigate it. Relitigate it. Do it. Do it. This lawyer, Frank the Tank will take this case. Sunflower Dragon will take. Do it.
Stuttering John did it when just 3 years. 4 years
ago. If any attorneys are listening to this broadcast,
he's a billionaire, Chauncey. You don't think he would throw money at the case to make it go
just
away?
To make me shut up? Just like he did with Debbie Tay.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Monique's husband has connections with her. She was tapping around in that world. She said this Howard's all over the legal offices with throwing money at problems and intern lawsuits and shit where they just make it go away. And
it's not worth it.
Though, too. Bitch has receipts.
It's so crazy. So here's the second part of this.
Okay.
And this woman sounds so defeated. I got to give you I don't know if I'm proud of you or I want to see them go down. I want to see you sue them, but the fact that you didn't is so crazy. You could have forget it.
No, I took the high road.
I know.
In fact,
tonight, exclusive.
Go ahead, Chauncey. I'm sorry.
I didn't even. I'm not the one that filed charges. I didn't even want to file charges. I just gave the message and the email to the police and said, if I'm found dead, there's a good chance this is the person that killed me. And that's all. I just wanted to know that someone was going to kill me in case I was killed. And they took it from there. They said, well, it's not in your hands anymore. This is a legitimate threat. The state is going to go after her, not you. We are.
That's the same here, that law. It is. Once you report it, if they look at it and just go, nah, it's unacceptable, you're like, okay. Even if you said, no, I'm not, I don't want to press charges, they'd be like, no, we're following through with this.
Right, it wasn't me. In fact, Howard went on the air and said, oh, Chauncey's being a big baby, he's going after us. That's another lie.
See, that's further defamation.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wasn't even charging her with anything. I wanted this thing to go away. The cops were the ones that said, "No, she's crazy, and we're gonna take her down."
That's how you know how serious it is. That they don't
Yeah,
even want to.
exactly.
They don't even let you drop the charges.
That's right. Yeah.
Man, this is so crazy. And so here's the second part of it. You get to hear this broad. They try to protect their anonymity, but her name's Dathian. I actually remember that name.
I remember that
Stern
name.
fan.
I remember that name. Yeah, it's such an odd name.
It is. I don't even know what that would. If anyone can look up Dathian, if there's any backstory behind it, or just to see like what it's connected to. Because
hang on,
usually you
John.
pick a name.
We need to do a show where we're both of us are on the air together. We need to do. We need
Bring
to
it
do
fun.
a reunion
This
show.
Autobot, yeah, surely on his podcast has that jacket in the background in a glass case on his
God,
podcast.
I burn it.
He's got it mounted off. I'll find a picture while we continue. John, go for it.
Well, any fans of sports fans, that's a parody of Monday Night Football. Remember when they would wear the mustard blazers?
Howard
Yeah,
Cosell
with
and
Howard
Danny
Cosell.
Don Meredith
Yep.
and Alex Karras.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Auto. We got it, Autobot. Chauncey, Dathian is a World of Warcraft name. It's a video game for, I think it's the PC. I don't think it ever came out for like Xbox or anything. So
Wow.
that makes total sense.
So she's
Thank you,
batshit
Autobot.
crazy.
Yep. There you go.
See details on the latest move by police in Bergen County, New Jersey. Howard 100 News reporter Steve Langford has been following the story. He's here in the studio now, live with us with the latest.
Howard 100. Breaking news.
George and Ralph, maybe those death threats against Chaunce Hayden were meant to be funny, if death threats are ever funny. But Bergen County, New Jersey police clearly don't see any humor in them. And now, one individual has been charged with making a terroristic threat against Chaunce Hayden. The cops, tight-lipped at this point, telling Howard 100 News that the individual lives in another state, not New Jersey, and will face potential extradition.
Same one. Let me hold on. I got another one. Sorry about that. It just here we go. I got it right here.
News. Give Sirius a subscription. We'll give you Howard News. Howard 100.
Howard 100.
The Stern fan, who allegedly posted a threat against Chaunce Hayden on the Stern Fan Network, speaks out. The posting called for Hayden's demise after he went on Fox television, representing himself as an authority on the Howard Stern Show, and now she is facing criminal charges. In an exclusive interview, Howard 100 News reporter Steve Langford spoke with her. He filed this story.
Howard 100 exclusive.
It was not a death threat. It was not me telling him, I'm coming to kill you.
When joking around about the Stern Show gets serious.
A few days later, I got a summons in the mail and letting me know that I had been charged.
Dathian, as she goes by on the Stern Fan Network website, speaking out for the first time on being charged with making a terroristic threat against Chaunce Hayden. And she's talking only to Howard 100 News.
I was just sick, you know. I thought that my life was going to be completely ruined and that I was going to end up losing my job and going to jail.
It has been a rough few weeks for this 30-something Stern fan who lives in the Midwest. Howard 100 News agreeing not to reveal her true identity because neither her employer nor her family knows she's in trouble.
Then my employer finds out about it. I don't know what the repercussion to that would be. I would be absolutely mortified if my family found out about this. You know, how do you explain to them that you're being accused of being a terrorist, basically?
Dathian, like a lot of Stern fans, likes to talk trash on the Stern Fan Network. So when Stern Nation nemesis Chaunce Hayden made some disparaging comments about Howard Stern on the Fox News Channel in January, Dathian figured she'd give Chaunce an online piece of her mind.
I was able to get on the Stern Fan Network and immediately post my anger without having any time to sort of cool off and think it over.
Dathian tells Howard 100 News the message she posted about Chaunce Hayden.
Basically, the subject title was "It was time to kill." I don't want to mention his name because I don't want to give him any more airtime. But it's time to kill him, and someone should shoot him in the head.
Is it a death threat, or is it...
That sounds like a threat.
Let's stop it right here. Chauncey,
That sounds kind of serious.
Do I have to Do I have to push any harder? You have such a lawsuit here. I don't care how many years has gone by. Look at the evidence I have right here. All you got to do is present you. Bingo. You won. Game time.
David, you're not talking. Doesn't this scare you that Chauncey may have been assassinated?
I can't.
No,
He's like,
people are
she's acting
frightening.
innocent. You hear what she said and wrote online, and then she's like, but I really am so innocent. And all I said was I want to shoot him in the head and and have somebody kill him.
She's very honest.
Yeah, I just wanted him dead. I don't see what the problem is.
You have an admission,
you know.
right here.
Some light
and it's-
teasing. Who cares? Right.
Yeah.
And there's Howard and there's Stern. You have such a lawsuit here.
You would
I'd say
think-
completely relitigate it.
I would need to find a lawyer willing to take this on after all these years. I don't think.
I remember the cop's
Stuttering
name.
John has a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
there you
course.
go.
Stuttering John's lawyers.
They'll do it pro bono as well. even if you get $10 million, you don't have to pay them.
Yeah. Chauncey's not Bono. He's pro bono tonight. In that.
Oh, that's classic arm.
Hey, by the way, so let me hear some more.
Oh my God, you guys are
Did
funny.
a joke. Apparently, not everyone thought it was funny.
The following Monday, I get a call from the Bergen County Police.
Dathian thought it was a prank call.
At first, I'm like, somebody's messing with me, but as time progressed and I realized it wasn't, and when the paperwork came in the mail, obviously I knew that it was pretty serious.
What this avid Stern fan says she meant to be a joke has suddenly exploded into a criminal charge.
He just basically told me that they had been contacted and they had a copy of my post, and that what I had done was considered a terrorist threat by New Jersey statutes.
So, by the way, the officer's name is Anthony D'Onofrio, Detective
Yes,
D'Onofrio.
yes. He ended up becoming a politician and running for office.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! So he'd have records of this. They laid it out. They have all the records. They have all the proof. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Adenoff runs a tight ship, by the way. That is something you do not want to cross.
Yeah.
Dathian's biggest problem, she doesn't have an attorney. She'd like some help.
I feel like there has to be somebody in the New Jersey area that's a Stern fan that knows the history of the person charging me and could help me resolve this either through the pretrial intervention or by fighting it outright. The thing with fighting it outright is that this is going to be a financial burden on me that I'm not prepared to deal with.
Dathian says when she posted her trash talking about Chaunce Hayden, she never for a moment thought anyone would take it seriously. To the point that when she heard Howard 100 News report a criminal charge was about to be filed against someone on the Stern Fan Network, she didn't think twice about it.
As a matter of fact, when you guys broke the story, I was laughing about it to my boyfriend. Never for a minute imagined it was me they were discussing.
Laughing no more and facing a likely court date in New Jersey, 1,000 miles from home, Dathian says she is no threat to Chaunce Hayden and never will be.
Now that it's gone on for these weeks and no resolution, it's kind of like this is just a bad dream and I'll wake up and it'll be all over.
For Howard 100 News, I'm Steve Langford.
God damn it, that's so crazy.
What are the odds she's still with that boyfriend, I wonder?
That's a great question.
Well, she's not around anymore. I put a bullet in her head. So
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was joking.
I had to take her out before she took me out.
Right.
So there's a trial. She went to court. Did you have to appear in court?
No, I forget what happened. I never had to go to court. I think they resolved it in Ohio, where she was from. I think she had to pay a fine, and she pleaded no contest. And I think that was the end of it. I think. Actually, but I don't know. I never had anything to do with it. I never got involved in it because it wasn't me that pressed charges.
Were you scared to take it further because there'd be more retribution from those Morlocks on SFN?
I was never intimidated by the fans of the Stern Show. I never, and maybe I should have been. Maybe I should have had more concern, but I never did. It was so overwhelming. There were so many that you couldn't even take it seriously because there were millions.
Right.
It wasn't one or two.
I'm saying this, this is not even hyperbole. You were actually chased out of that world to the point where they did intimidate you. You could say, like, look, I fled to fucking Ireland. I was chased. I lost my livelihood because of this stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I had to
kind
leave
of
the
true,
I had
though.
to leave the country.
Yeah, and that
Wow.
could all to it. It's not ridiculous that the retribution, like I said, Mutt doesn't want to talk because his lawyer told him not to.
And whatever happened to Mutt? Like, what happened to that guy?
Stern Fan Network closed down, I want to say 2000. And by the way, Howard gives the marching orders to the Stern Fan Network. So we found out through Sabian that they told the Stern Fan Network kind of what they could and couldn't post because they wanted to be connected to the show. And Mutt was hosting that Superfan Roundtable. And so he shut his site down because Howard told him to.
And now he's got nothing. And now Stern dumped him, and he's got nothing.
That begat Dog Shed or PayPal Shed, and that begat Radio Gunk. And here we are from that.
Well, Mutt claimed that he got $1 million offer for Stern
Yes,
Fan Network, which I
from
don't
Johnny
believe at
Fratto.
all. I don't believe it at all.
I don't believe that, but I'm sure it was worth something at one point. And he sold his soul to Howard, and Howard did what he always does. He fucking
I can't get over these jackets. I mean, look at what I've shown you here in the background. Surely he's got it framed in the background.
Claim to fame, if that's his claim,
He's molded it.
It looks like a Holocaust pajama top. The only thing missing is a Jewish star.
I love it.
Doesn't it? It looks
in
like
Alabama.
the old Holocaust pajama top.
The only Jew in Arizona, in Alabama, Chauncey, as a matter of fact. So that was spawned from this, and this is kind of where we left off last time. Chauncey, tell everybody. So you blew up Howard's spot that he's a huckster, he's a grifter, he's gonna, this serious thing is a scam. He's insider trading. He's making off like a bandit. He knew exactly what he was doing 3 years ago. Manipulating stocks and the whole thing. And Howard's terrified. And that's how this all started. So Chauncey was a semi-regular guest on Neil Cavuto's show, who's still with Fox.
Yeah.
And so this is where we left off. Neil Cavuto comes on the phone with Howard and defends having Chauncey on as a, quote, Howard Stern expert. And that's how the feud started. So this is Cavuto on Howard.
Hold on, Johnny. We just got.
Yeah.
I have Neil.
Did Chauncey cover the Diddy party for stepping out? And does he now know how many times Howard went? Chauncey, do you have any information on
No, I never. I was invited to them, but I never went. I heard they were so fucking bizarre and sick that I said I'm not going to Hamptons for that bullshit. I never went.
Cool.
Does anyone listen to AJ Benz's Patreon podcast?
Yeah.
There. Well, he has like I guess, and I totally get it. He charges. He has I guess it's under a paywall, and I guarantee you, AJ has something on that as well. You know that motherfucker was invited to that stuff.
Yeah, all the gossip guys back then were invited to the white parties. You know, they wanted the press. They wanted to be in the papers the next day. You know.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, there were two parties. There was a party that ended at midnight, and there was the party that began at 7 a.m.
Right.
So most people that went to the white parties wouldn't have seen anything. You know, it was what went on afterwards that the fun started.
How much you want to bet Howard knows everything that went on?
Oh, of course,
I mean, he's completely in. We had a guest on, a Chubby Pickle, who was delivering food and supplies to P. Diddy's party, and he had to have almost like a security meet him on the street, blindfold him, take him to this party where he would deliver the stuff, and he hung around for like hours. And he said Howard was at the party. This is 2014 with Ralph, and he had 5 security guards hovering around him at the party, at P. Diddy's party. And Howard claims that he had nothing to do with him for like a decade. So he absolutely knows.
Of course he did. Of course. Everything Howard says is a lie. You got to start. You have to start there. You have to start with that foundation.
Everybody there was just so mellow, man.
That was Chubby Pickle. So here's Cavuto talking to Howard. Howard has Cavuto on. He'd never do this
Scumbag.
today.
He's a scumbag, Cavuto. Oh my God, I hate that guy.
Tell us after this how he.
All right,
I didn't
okay.
know that. I didn't know
I'll
that he
tell you.
screwed you.
Yeah, he's
Cavuto on from Fox Television to defend his Chauncey interview, and I've got plenty to say about it. Neil, how are you?
Hi, Howard. How are you?
I'm a watcher of Neil Cavuto, and I am
A little disappointed with yesterday?
Yeah, I was. I didn't actually see it. Someone played it for me today, and Neil, I don't even know where to begin with this story. It's bizarre of you to put Chauncey on as a Howard Stern expert.
How did you determine that he was an expert?
How is he a Howard Stern expert?
Well, we certainly tried, Howard, to get you. We tried to get anyone from Sirius to talk about
well, assuming you couldn't. I wasn't available.
See, Howard glossed right over that, Chauncey. So obviously Fox called him 100 times. He's literally, isn't Fox right across the street from Sirius?
Yeah.
At that point. So let's get this walk across the street. And he blows them off. And then he's blaming them. So they go through the channels. He goes through Buckwald. And he's like, oh, fuck it. I need somebody. Chauncey knows everything. And you do.
And by the way, what would make someone an expert? Someone who's been on the show 1,000 times.
I'm
someone
an expert.
who's had lunch with Howard privately.
Yeah.
Someone who's auditioned for John's job and has been in the back room, green room, and workings of the show. Someone who's helped Howard write his book, Private Parts. What does it entail to be an expert? Unless I actually fucked Howard in the ass, I don't know what more I could have done to be an expert.
Able to talk to you yesterday, and I'm sorry for that, but I do have a life.
So how far do you have to go before you get to Chauncey? I mean, how many people before him?
Yeah, who the hell did you turn down?
I mean, you hit rock bottom. I mean, tell me something. When you put up a sign that says, he's on me.
All right, now, I think what's bugging you is he clearly doesn't like you.
No, I didn't say that bugs me. I want to know how he is qualified to be an expert.
We looked at anyone and everyone who could talk about this issue, mostly from Sirius. We were getting nowhere. Your company did put out a statement. Here was a guy who was saying that he thought that what was going on here, if it was censorship, would be bad for you. I was not aware to the degree, and this is my fault, Howard, that where there's bad blood from prior episodes.
No, but I don't mind bad blood. I don't mind someone criticizing me. I just don't understand how he is a Howard Stern expert. There isn't one thing in this thing that makes sense. And I'm surprised at you, Neil. I mean, you're a very bright guy.
Well, Howard, to be fair, I think, could we have done a better booking? Could we have probably gotten someone of a little bit more caliber? I think you're absolutely right. In retrospect, that's my fault. But I think, as you know, Howard, from prior shows we've done on you and on Sirius, I've been most fair. Even when other, people are coming on the show, oh, Howard, this and that. I've defended your show because I like your show. I like you. I get a kick out of you and Robin.
I got to defend Fox News back then was very much in bed with Howard. They would have Beth on for segments that she had no business being on TV. No business. They would do favors for him all the time. They defended him constantly back then.
Yeah.
And he's right. He's absolutely right. And so when you go, they're supposed to just cancel the segment. Like Howard wouldn't do that. He has to green light. You have to have his approval to have a guest. No, the entire compound is under an NDA. They're not allowed to do another show. They're not allowed to do anything, interviews and shit. That's why you never see any.
And Neil groveling is sickening.
Yeah.
What he should have said is, listen, Howard, we asked you to come on. You said no, so we got someone else. End of story.
Life goes on.
Yep, now he's got to grovel so Howard doesn't hate him, and Howard will be nice to him again and say, well, we could have got a better qualified guest. We're so sorry. It's our fault. He's kissing Howard's ass.
Of course.
Because it means nothing to him to fuck me over, but it would be devastating to him for Howard to stay mad at him. So now he's going to throw me under the fucking bus.
Because he could smear him unrequited every single day for as long as he wants with his own two channels. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, no, let's be clear here. So when you came on board, you knew because of your own guidelines that there was going to be a slight delay.
I asked, there was no delay here. They haven't had any delay. I said I would like a delay button.
And he announced that at K-Rock.
Why would you want a delay button?
I want a delay button if you walk into my show
Okay, let me give you a context here. So Chauncey was rightfully, accurately, beautifully criticizing Howard for doing a bait and switch, telling the audience in late 2004, all through 05, this is what you're getting. Uncensored radio, no commercials, no bullshit. I'm never going to, there's no delay. It's
What you hear
whatever
is what you get. We're not going to have commercials. It's good. It's going to be everything we ever dreamed of. And meanwhile, it was more censored than ever before.
And so,
more
like,
censored.
Yes. Any bad politician going back on promises, he rescinded on every single thing.
Yes.
So
And he had
Chauncey
that big
called him
fist.
out.
And he had that fist, like that
Yes.
Nazi
Black
fist
power
in the
set.
air. Yeah,
Yep.
what the? Yeah, bullshit.
No
And
more-
Everybody was falling for it. Everyone was falling for it. And I was the only one that came forward and said, don't believe any of this shit. He's fucking with you people. He's going to fuck with you. You're going to hate him one day.
And you everything you said turns out to be completely prophetic and true, cut to not even today, 15 years ago. That all started.
It was true about, I would say, about as soon as Artie left. I think everything I said came true.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Even ironically, the mantra was no more bullshit. And so you got to remember too, Chauncey, he made a $240 million bonus for the subscriptions. So he can't have you thinking that, and you call them out, it's a cash grab. You called that whole thing out. And so you've rocked his world because he has another bonus coming to him in 07.
Yes, and he had no power over me. I
Right.
had enough clout and fame that I could get on shows like Cavuto on Fox News, but he had no control over me. He couldn't ban me from the show twice. He couldn't do anything to shut me up. And I had enough fame where mainstream media wanted to talk to me about him, and it drove him up the fucking wall. I was like a knife in his heart, and he couldn't stop me until he went on such a hate campaign to get people to kill me.
His utter nightmare is to not have to control the narrative and to control who speaks about him. And so you're out of his orbit. And like you said, and Opie and Anthony probably is the other people that got under him like that. He had to go to Karmazin to threaten them to the point where they shut them up.
But
because
see,
they
he did have power over them because he could do that.
That's right, because of Karmazin.
With me, there was nothing. I was a loose cannon. I didn't give a fuck what I said because he couldn't hurt me. There was nothing he could do to me. He would have been, if he was smart, he would have brought me onto that show and gave me my own show right after his. And said, you know what, Chauncey, just do the show and let's get along, all right? And he would have been better off than casting me out with all the dead bodies that I knew were buried.
I think, and he's worried about being sued. His spot's blowing up. He's been exposed as a huckster and a fraud and a con man. He's already gotten his first bonus. He stands to make a second bonus, which he does get. And let's face it, the reason he made his bonus is because Artie went to Sirius. Do you think if that show, you think he'd make that bonus coming to the way that show is now? Do you think people would have followed him to Sirius?
There's nobody that listens to Sirius now that listens to it because Stern's there.
That's right.
In fact,
So
I would say they lost people because Stern's there.
His second bonus is $85 million in 07. And that's what he's worried about. That he's going to have people canceling and they won't be able to carry that over to 07.
Yeah. And you can imagine what Don Buchwald was saying.
Yeah, Buchwald's going,
Buchwald's going crazy.
Yes,
Buchwald's
every day.
Howard's there saying, take care of this, take care of this. Get
Because
rid of this guy.
Because what does Buchwald make on
20%?
$2.5 million off his first bonus.
Oh,
and then he makes almost $1 million off the second bonus.
For doing nothing,
For doing nothing.
It's just nothing.
And there's this guy named Chauncey. That's throwing a monkey wrench into the entire cash machine.
But that's your job. You're a journalist. Whether we want to Stepping Out magazine, we line parakeet cages with it. No, you're a journalist, whether you like it or not.
And then you shouldn't have
your
me
job.
on the show for 6,000 times over 20 years.
Murdoch is a homosexual. I want the ability to hit the delay button to prevent a libelous statement from going out over the air.
So you do that. That wouldn't be, in this case, Sirius.
No, Sirius has no control over the button. I have the button. This isn't a case like at K-Rock where they took my button and put it in the hands of 6 lawyers and a general manager, what you would call libel and slander laws.
And it was no secret.
Then answer me this.
And I've announced that.
The so-called certain guidelines coming from
Go ahead.
Was there any truth to that?
None. Here's.
But there's a difference, right, Howard, between someone saying censorship and someone saying guidelines, right?
No. There's no censorship.
Is there any limit on what either of you do on the air now?
No.
There are limits that I place on myself. I told you. To me,
To the best of my knowledge, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe we ever identified Chauncey as a Stern expert.
Let's continue.
A lot of people say, well, what would a business show do this? I mean, as you know, Howard, you were cover story in Barron's over the weekend, concerned about Sirius, the company, and the stock. I thought it was a legitimate story to cover. I think, Howard, there is a bullish case to make on Sirius, and there's a bearish case to make on Sirius. And whether you're a stock analyst, some of them don't know their you-know-what from their elbow, or someone who's a disgruntled fan.
This is all about no censor, and Kavuta says he's afraid to say ass from his elbow on Sirius. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's so funny because he's now like, I'm censoring myself. So that proves Chauncey's argument is right. He just said he's a con man. He came on here saying...
yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's exactly right. It's worse that he's the one doing it.
He said it.
That makes it worse.
I'm censoring my own show because I'm worried about lawsuits. You're not worried about anything else. You're worried about yourself.
It means you're a phony fucking bullshitter.
He admitted it.
He admitted it. He fucking admitted. Cavuto went right over his fucking head. He didn't understand what he was hearing. Stern was admitting what I was saying was true.